How's that look?
Man, that thing look great. That thing look great on me. In New York on the front, Grimes on the back. Ain't nothing better than that.
How you feeling overall?
Man, it's surreal. This is like all your dreams paying off. You be working since you were a little kid. Just something I never thought I would accomplish, but now I'm here now. Time to get to work.
What are the Knicks fans gonna get?
They getting a shooter, a competitor, a defender. Somebody's gonna go out there every night, leave it all out there on the court, trying to win every game.
Foxy, coming into summer league, what were some areas of improvement that you wanted Grimes to kind of work on, and if you saw anything that kind of gives you the understanding or the belief that he's actually working on some things in the off time?
With Quentin, he reiterated. Here's a weird fact that he made 100 threes in college last year, and made Deuce took 111 attempts. So he almost made as many threes as Deuce attempted. So his 3-point shooting, whether in college, he just showed he is an elite 3-point shooter, man. He has a gorgeous stroke. Gorgeous stroke. But to answer your question, what we did see, though, out of 89 shots, he took 53s. Those other 39 shots, his mid-range game is hurting. He really needs to work on his mid-range game. He needs to work on his handles for helping. He doesn't have the greatest first step, as we saw. So he's going to need those handles to help create separation. Doesn't go to his left much. And what we saw, whether it was Scotty Barnes and a few others, I see him strictly as a 2. He's, I think, 6'3" or so and change in feet, his bare feet, 6'5". I see him as a shooting guard more than in a wing. I think the wings gave him trouble. Obviously Scotty Barnes is 6'8", 7-something wingspan. There's a lot of guys like that at the 3-and-D in this league. So I think he's going to be a good shooting guard. But here's the good news. His defense is, again, NBA ready. He's very physical. He was crashing the boards in summer league. That translates well to the real game. He gets his body really good, squaring his body on defense. So even with all that he has to learn, fixing his handles, getting more of a mid-range game, getting better going to his left and stuff, he could still be effective. If in a situation, because catch and shoot, he's already NBA ready for a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So all those elements he could work on, but if he plays D and can hit threes the way he can, I can see him. I don't see him in the rotation much this season. I see him, again, if an injury comes up or garbage time mostly. I just don't see him getting that much minutes. But I was really impressed that he's the real deal shooting threes. There's no doubt about it.
So you're saying, so if you were to say his biggest area of improvement, it would be creating for himself or operating in the mid range?
I think D, all the above. I think both of those, because separation he's going to need to, in this league, because if those guys are on him in summer league, imagine what elite NBA defenders are going to do. And again, I think he's going to have trouble with the length and athleticism of a 3. So I'd like to put him where he's going to be more successful at the 2. But mid-range is everything, because they're going to force you to go. They're going to take away his 3-point shot if they know they're going to be on him. So they're going to make him have to, like you said, put that ball on the floor, separate, create a shot for himself, or he's going to be handing off that ball a whole lot because he's going to be afraid to shoot. But I was glad he did display something that I mentioned with Deuce. He came out, all the props about coming from a combine. There's not a player that really benefited more from the combine than Quentin Grimes. Came in hot and didn't play the first couple of games. He wasn't really lighting it up, but he finished really, really strong. He hit an important jumper at the end of one game. So I like the way it's not how you start, or Tibbs says who starts, but who finishes. I like, pardon me, I like that he showed the toughness, that he finished up the summer league shooting well. He has a beautiful shooting stroke, and I know JD's in the chat. It's like Allan Houston, man. He has that gorgeous form. Now, if he could just do that from two, um, he's a tough kid. So I see him working on his game. So hey, there's a reason why he was the 25th pick. There's flaws in his game, and if you didn't have those flaws, we would have had to trade for him because he wouldn't have been available, and that's the reality of it.
Foxy, it's interesting. We keep discussing how some of these players need to work on knocking down mid-range shots, but you always hear, or you're starting to hear, that the league is moving away from the mid-range. But right now, as you see, as we're talking about these players, how dangerous it is to have the threat of knocking down and converting in the mid-range. It really unlocks a lot more spaces on the court. So just because you hear the media saying that the mid-range is dead, my favorite player right behind me, Kobe Bryant, for years killed and operated in the mid-range. So I totally agree with you. Grimes definitely has to become a little bit more creative, a little bit. I won't say he has to work on his left hand, because he really doesn't go to his left hand at all. And if he
At
does,
all.
he's gonna settle with a step back three. That's usually his go-to if he is forced left. But just to get into his stats from summer league, he averaged 15.3 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and he shot 42% from the field, 41% from the three-point line, and 67% from free throw. So Grimes, he had a rough start. How do you feel about him being able to rebound from those first 3 games, where it kind of seemed like Knicks Twitter was saying we made the wrong pick, but he was able to be headstrong, rebound, and he was solid in his last 3?
Yeah. I mentioned this during the analysis when he first was picked, that he was a 5-star recruit at Kansas, and he bombed out, and
Mm-hmm.
as a point guard. And like we said, because he didn't have the handles. So he went down to Coach Sampson in Houston, and they resurrected him as a 3-and-D instead of a point guard. But it takes a tough kid. We have a great example in Kevin Knox. What happens to a kid who loses confidence? Like, wow, I saw him as a rookie. He did all these things, and now he looks like 2 left feet, like his confidence. So I like I said, for a kid, this is a tough league. These guys will eat you, man. Competition is everything. They want to rip your heart out. They love that. So for him to come back after those, pardon me, those slow first games, and finish up strong and confident, you could see it in his swagger at the end of the last game and everything. It's like, I belong here, and you want that. You can't have a player, again, like a Knox, that you have to coddle and, it's going to be all right, Kevin. You want a dog. This is New York. The fans, the media, MSG, you got to have a certain personality. And that's why when it was Deuce, I was like, oh boy, this is a perfect pick for us. And Grimes, like I said, I like that he overcame that. I just wish there was just a little more athleticism, on our lineups. RJ had a spectacular season for a 20-year-old kid, a blink away from averaging 20 points per game, but his lack of athleticism and hops. He had his shot blocked 86 times last year, and I see him as a pure shooting guard also, where RJ can bully it too, and he doesn't like the length of threes. So I wish this team got a little more athletic, but we just didn't in this draft. Miles is good. But he's just average also athletically. He's not uses smarts and a really good handle and stuff in that 6'9" wingspan. But God, I wish, that's why in a perfect world I wanted Jalen Suggs so bad, because he would
We were
add
gonna move up for him. They were saying they were in talks to try to get to him.
the his athleticism would bring a whole different. We need that type of explosion. We see the disruptive thing that Trey did to everyone, not just the Knicks. Speed kills, the old saying, man. It's very difficult to deal with that, and we just don't have people on this team with this roster that have that type of speed and athleticism that are disruptive. So they have to use smarts instead of jumping through. RJ has to use his body and his physicality to get to his spots rather than whoop, one spot, he's there, man.
Yeah.
It's not there, man. So
Has to be a lot more technical.
it has to be a lot more technical. But you know what? The great players and the players that really want it learn that. They learn what they have to do to get to that spot, and that's what this league is all about. The people who get to their spot are the winners. The ones who don't, they play G League or Europe.
Uh-huh.